quick turnaround. That's how it goes during the second session of OTAs. And my God, we got a lot to talk about. Donald Trump and Elon Musk are currently sparring right now publicly. So it feels like the Aaron Rodgers news, the Rashod Bateman extension, and his first comments mean absolutely nothing because of what's happening in the Twitter or X sphere as of right now. So maybe I can give you some commentary on that in just a bit. I appreciate you guys for being here. This episode is brought to you by my friends at Primary Residential Mortgage. If you could on the way in, please like the video, subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell. You guys know how it goes by now. First things first, yet another month here, courtesy of PRMI. We're giving away a $100 Fanatics gift card to Baltimore's team store, the Ravens team store. And right now, you can enter in rather effortlessly. All you have to do is go on Instagram, DreDog. I need you to download that app, perhaps, and go to PRMI Mid-Atlantic. You'll find a post courtesy of Primary Residential Mortgage. I'll do a quick little screen share for you right here. And again, all you have to do, comment on the post with the hashtag BobbyB and tell them and tell me what your dream home looks like. Just follow them. Subscribe to my personal channel, which I assume that you already do, and click on the link or scan the QR code. That is literally it, and you will be eligible for a $100 Fanatics gift card to Baltimore's team store. I appreciate PRMI for the continued support, and I'll tell you more on them in just a bit. So we have a lot to discuss because the day began with Rashod Bateman's contract extension. It has now ended, it's only 3:30 Eastern, with the Musk and Trump sparring, and Aaron Rodgers coming to the AFC North, which is now official, and that is where I begin. I know you guys will just be overjoyed with this being the first discussion. But four-time NFL MVP, Aaron Rodgers, according to Tom Pelissero and a number of other folks on the national scale, plans to fly to Pittsburgh this week. He is going to participate in the Steelers' mandatory minicamp next week. So the signing is now imminent. And at 41 years old, A-Rod set to play his 21st NFL season as a member of the Pittsburgh Steelers. This is why all along I have felt like Aaron is holding this organization hostage. Not that I didn't believe he would end up in Pittsburgh. It is now June 5th, and this news has just come down the pike. That doesn't necessarily mean that Mike Tomlin hasn't had a verbal agreement or a handshake kind of deal with this future Hall of Famer. But it does mean that he's not going to be around in the building. He's probably not going to take part in the OTAs at this point in his career. And he may not be as present as a head coach would want his future starter to be. The reality is, all offseason long, the Steelers have been operating under this assumption or this idea that they could, if they needed to, go forward with Mason Rudolph, who's back for a second stint with the Steelers after spending some time in Tennessee. They then drafted on day 3 Will Howard out of Ohio State. Skylar Thompson is the backup third stringer. This now brings Aaron, obviously vaults him into QB1, and the first stringer, Mason Rudolph, I assume, will be the primary backup, and Will Howard's going to have a shot, obviously, to compete with Mason Rudolph as their day 3 pick, who a lot of people have some high hopes for in terms of his NFL development. Schefter noting a short while ago that the Steelers never wavered in their belief that Aaron eventually would sign with them. Mike Tomlin loomed large in this entire situation. Schefter says Tomlin was a drawing card for Rodgers and was happy to work with him on his timeline. He is a major reason that Rodgers will become a Steeler. I will never forget the McAfee interview that he did earlier on in this offseason and just how checked out he came across. I think I was en route to Sarah's. I want to say it was among my many travels so far this offseason. I think I was in the airport watching that interview en route to Columbus for the Vault Summit. And I was watching it, and I was so struck by how distracted he came across and how much he was willing to share about what he has going on outside of football. And so, look, the Steelers are getting a quarterback that is on the back 9. He is approaching Amon Corner, to use a golf reference for those of you who are fans of the Masters. And those of you that aren't, he is nearing the end. Obviously, He's 41. He spent his last couple of years not only recovering from that Achilles tear, but in New York with the Jets in a situation that obviously became pretty tumultuous with Robert Saleh being fired, with the general manager, Joe Douglas, being fired, with a ton of injuries, and obviously the annual, right? It was a perennial thing of dysfunction when it comes to the New York Jets organization. He now joins anything but, right? A respected franchise, a consistent franchise. And while they haven't won a playoff game since what, 2016? I got to go back and check that. I think it's 2016 under Mike Tomlin. They are, it's a symbolic year-to-year level of consistency by Mike Tomlin and company. And obviously, again, it has not been good enough since Ben Roethlisberger retired, and they have been in the middle of a quarterback carousel. But one thing it has been is consistent. And I think that's probably Mike Tomlin's most notable calling card as the head honcho of the Steelers. They now get somebody that is, in some folks' eyes, a bridge quarterback. And maybe he is that. I still think this bridge quarterback can play. And I still think the Steelers and Ravens wind up when it's all said and done. Yeah, the Ravens win this division for my money, but I still see them. You watch. The Steelers are going to split this regular season series. They're going to win one of these games. And speaking of those games, now you officially have, and maybe you circle them regardless of who's quarterbacking for black and gold, but it will come down the stretch. 2 games in about a month or so. December 7th is week 14, and Ravens-Steelers at the bank, meaning a home game for the Ravens. And then, of course, the TBD that's attached to the time and the date, but week 18 at Pittsburgh. Naturally, of course, it's a regular season finale that could very well have major implications on the division, depending on what takes place at that point in this season, and obviously seeding and so on and so forth. But it's week 14 and week 18 is when the Ravens and Steelers will match up. And now, assuming that all goes well with his health throughout this upcoming season, it'll be Lamar Jackson versus Aaron Rodgers. 2 future Hall of Famers, right? 2 guys that at one point in Aaron's career and right now in the prime of Lamar's career are considered to be MVP candidates every single time they step out on the football field. It's going to be cinema. It is going to be highly entertaining, and we now get that for at least the next year, twice a year. Rodgers, Lamar, Ravens, Steelers. The rivalry has been renewed, perhaps, with some of these Ravens and past and present Ravens showing up, changing teams, so on and so forth. I look forward to it. You guys are probably ripping me in the live chat for being an Aaron Rodgers fan, which I am, but we're going to watch this very closely. And it sure looks like, based on reports, that Aaron is set to participate in next week's mandatory minicamp in Pittsburgh. That's how I want to begin the stream. Now let's get to Rashod Bateman. I appreciate you guys for being with me today. Please like the video on your way in if you haven't already done so. Subscribe to the channel, hit that notification bell, and get ready to give me your thoughts on this. Rashod Bateman is now a Raven, and he is a Raven through 2029 after he was extended. And yes, it comes removed, just a few months removed, really, from a breakout campaign. His 4th season was nothing short of exceptional for what the Ravens needed from and of him. 17 games, a clean bill of health, 45 receptions, 756 yards receiving, 9 touchdowns, a career best by a large margin. He had 4 combined, by the way, his previous 3 seasons. And what a difference a year makes. They give him an extension this time last year. It was a team-friendly one, and then some, to the tune of, I think, 2 years, $12 million. We'll get to that and those specific numbers in just a bit. He balls out, and the Ravens did right by him. It's 3 years, $36.75 million. That's the extension. It includes $20 million guaranteed. Bateman now stays in Baltimore through the 2029 season, and he is fired up about it, as he was just a short while ago at one winning drive.
2 parties kind of met. We've kind of been negotiating since the end of the season, and, you know, it was something that both parties wanted to do, and it just made sense for both of us, and we worked it out. So I'm happy to be here, blessed and fortunate. So keep chasing the Super Bowl.
So you kind of revealed there, right? A little bit of new details in terms of the fact that the two parties, the Ravens organization, Bateman and his representation, have been in talks since the end of 2024. So I got to tell you, I have such a level of respect for how the Ravens obviously are wired and the structure of their front office and the organization really top down. But for them to immediately essentially look to not only go back to the negotiating table, but look to reward a player that's a homegrown player that's dealt with his fair share of adversity and really came off a year of tremendous success and a breakout, for them to immediately look to reward him, to me, it's just it's great business, high character, it's good stuff. 36.75 million. That's on top of the 10.75 million from his previous deal from this time last year. That's according to Brian McFarland, Ravens salary cap analyst. As Sarah went on to note, literally mid-vacation in downtown Zurich, Switzerland, they gave Rashod a small pay bump last offseason after several injuries in his first few years in the NFL. It was a prove-it year, and he went on to have a career year, which was exceptional and exactly what the doctor ordered to complement Zay Flowers. And unlike last year, Bate, he wasn't caught off guard by this year's extension.
A surprise this year than last year.
Less of a surprise this year. This year made sense to me for sure, most definitely.
Why did it make sense to you?
Because I feel like I finally did something on the field that was, impressive and something that you can, respect and stand on. Before that, it was a little bit shocking. I had some ups and downs here and there, so to be able to be here now, it feels good. You know what I'm saying?
Man, I bet it does. And I love his honesty right there, right? Like brutal honesty about he actually put something together. His output last year was something that he knew would stand tall in negotiations. It would increase his value, right? And ultimately make him probably feel darn good about what he was able to put out on tape last year. He was the only player in the NFL all of last season to average at least 16 yards per reception and catch 9 or more touchdowns. And obviously the rapport with Lamar Jackson continues. And I got to think that from a validation standpoint, based on what Bates said, based on what Bate proved last year, that he's got to be taking a victory lap internally right now. And I'm sure the motivation is through the roof to try and stack seasons and do exactly what he did last year, this upcoming year.
I can play ball, and it's like everybody knows that now, and I'm not here to prove that to nobody. I want to prove that to my teammates, and I work for the Ravens, you know what I'm saying? I work for, Lamar Jackson technically, and if these guys are pleased with, with what I'm doing and, my work ethic and all of that, then I feel like as a team, that's what's important to me. So I've done that, and, I'm definitely looking to continue to build off of that for sure.
Take your victory lap, man. I love the way that he's been handling himself in recent years. And I love the type of lists that he keeps popping up on, by the way, as well. 33rd team marked the highest passer rating when targeted in 2024. Pass catchers with a minimum of 60 targets. Rashod, number 8 overall, 125.9. That was the highest, or that was the 8th highest passer rating. You know who's at the top of this list? Somebody that a lot of people are writing off, and I think just in ridiculous fashion. Why they're writing him off remains to be seen. But Mark Andrews at 140.9 leads the way on this list. So 2 pass catchers, a wide receiver and a tight end respectively, that are under contract for this upcoming season and beyond. If you're Rashod, obviously Andrews, we'll see what happens with him after 2025 along with the rest of the tight end list. But two players in the top 10 of this list are in Baltimore. And I got to tell you, for Rashod, yeah, there's got to be a significant level of validation and fulfillment, gratitude, so on and so forth. But man, he's got to feel good about where he's at with the organization's higher-ups, because it wasn't all that long ago that it was tumultuous. And things were not exactly smooth when Bateman struggled with availability earlier on in his career, had a few public outbursts, some cryptic tweets. So for it to be where it is now and him comfortably be under contract through 2029, coming off the year that he just had, and knowing that he will continue to have a role within the confines of Todd Monken's offense, I got to think he feels pretty darn comfortable right now.
Trust from between player and organization that, look, if I outperform a contract that even if I just signed it, if I outperform that, this organization is going to take care of me in the long run.
That's what you would want them to do, but it doesn't guarantee anything. I got a good relationship with DaCosta, and I think they helped as well. They respect how I work, how I come in the building, and my teammates do. And I think that's why I'm still here. I hope so. Not just about what I do on the football field. So I'm definitely hoping to continue that mindset and that work ethic to continue to prove to the coaches that I'm worthy.
Love the headspace that he continues to be in. I tell you, he feels comfortable. He looks comfortable. He's been playing comfortably. 77.8% of Bateman's 2024 receptions resulted in a first down or touchdown. That's 35 of 35. That's the highest rate in the NFL among players with 40-plus catches. Look at the company. A.J. Brown, Darnell Mooney, the only players with a 75%, along with Bateman, a 75% touchdown to first down rate. Okay? He is who he is. He was who he was. You heard the man. And while I had plenty of doubts this time last year, I don't have as many this year. I feel like he can go and back up what he put forth in 2024 should he stay healthy. And I thought that was one of his biggest strengths last year in terms of what he can go to the negotiating table with. He didn't just show up in the regular season. He showed up in the postseason. And he showed up as a wide receiver one in the postseason because Zay Flowers was down with his knee. That is very encouraging moving forward for a player that they want to get involved. They want to keep and stay involved. He can take the top off the defense. He can play in the slot. He's going to give you consistent, silky route running ability. He's going to be an awfully reliable pass catcher, even though I know a couple of you would want them back from last year. I know he would want a couple back that turned into interceptions for Lamar last year that were not Lamar's fault. Right? He's a willing blocker. He's turned into a team guy, full-fledged. Not that he wasn't earlier on in his career, but he is not a distraction right now. He is not a headache in the slightest. He was one of the league's most effective wideouts when targeted last year. Take a look at where he stands in EPA per target among wide receivers with at least 70 targets in 2024. 0.60. That's ahead of A.J. Brown and Terry McLaurin, who obviously had phenomenal seasons. Amon-Ra St. Brown and Devontae Smith, the only two players in this category that had Bateman beat. Again, it's great company. It's a player that is absolutely, without question, somebody that is a growing leader that they want to keep around Baltimore and continue to develop. It's full circle moments for Bate.
I think for me, it hits different when, it's a receiver here. Well, we all know the perspective here. And, we've been through a lot. We go through a lot. We continue to go through a lot, when it comes to facing backlash here and there or wherever it may be. But it definitely, I'll just say it means a lot, to be able to start something new here, something fresh when it comes to the receiving room. And, hopefully we continue to, make plays and, change the narrative of what we have here.
He's as aware gets. He sees and reads everything, which probably earlier on in his career was to his detriment. But, hey, I just like the fact that he's acknowledging of some of the shortcomings of his position historically in Ravens history, and he wants to make sure that he can start to turn that narrative around. I love that. I love that accountability. I love that awareness, and I hope he does do it. Not one player can do it. Obviously, they have missed more than they have hit on the position outside of free agency over the years, but Eric DaCosta is trying to turn that thing around, and slowly but surely with Bate and Zay, and we'll see what happens to a couple of these rookies in recent years and younger players, he is starting to do that. Jonas Schaefer took a look at one little nugget here. Can Bateman surpass what he did in 24 this upcoming season in 25? Jonas says if D-Hop can reliably win outside, Bateman can line up more in the slot. He got just 109 snaps and 28 targets there last year. That's low for any starter at wide receiver, but was a top 5 wide receiver in yards per route run. I don't know how consistently they should expect or bank on DeAndre Hopkins to win outside, but he's got something left in the tank. I believe that. I don't know how much. I think it'll be in situational types of moments for the Ravens that they need him and his timeliness and his savvy and his experience and his contested catch winning ability and his route running and that 50-50 opportunity, that frame. That's what he's going to bring. But how consistently he can win outside in today's game, he'll be 33 later this week. I don't know. I have my doubts about that in terms of the consistency side of it. I think he can come in bunches. More on Bateman. Boy, did he stay in the fight, man. Genuinely happy for this guy. In 2021, his season was really derailed, or at least the beginning of his season was derailed due to that groin injury. He missed 5 games. He was placed on injured reserve. Still was able to stack, put up over 500 receiving yards, a few touchdowns as well. Kind of left you wondering, like, man, if you can get a full season under his belt, especially as a rookie that didn't really have camp, he went down in early August, what could his rookie year have been? That's what I remember thinking to myself. But then 2022 comes and it's just a wash. The Liz Frank foot setback shuts him down in November. He opts to have surgery, plays in just 6 games, and then all of a sudden, the 2023 offseason comes around. They draft Zay Flowers with a first-round pick, and they sign Odell for Lamar. So it's like, damn. But he goes on to have a healthy 2023, pedestrian-like numbers. They extend him in a pedestrian-like fashion, 2 years, just over $12.8 million. And then he goes and just completely outperforms that contract in year 1 of the extension. 17 games, clean bill of health, 45 receptions, 756 yards receiving, 9 touchdowns, reliable in the postseason, a gamer, big play bait. That's the label attached, deservedly so. And what do the Ravens do? They've awarded him. They've done right by him. 3 years, 36.75 M's. Keeps him in Baltimore through 2029. Everybody's happy. Yeah, if you look around and what he ended up doing last year productivity-wise, what he may end up doing this year, could we be looking at this time next year, Bateman in a situation where he's viewed as, you know, the best bargain in the entire league? Maybe. But who's to say the Ravens won't rip this thing up just the way they did this last extension that was awarded to him this time last year? Who's to say? It's a great position for the Ravens to be in, especially with all the players that are still to come that are absolutely priorities when it comes to being candidates for extensions. Kyle Hamilton, Isaiah Likely, Tyler Linderbaum, 3 names that come to mind in that category. Perhaps Travis Jones if he balls out. There'll be others out there as well. So there you have it. I see Baby Oil has reemerged in the live chat. What a time to be alive. Thank you guys for being with me tonight. This afternoon, it feels like tonight because today has been a whirlwind. It's brought to you by my friends at Primary Residential Mortgage. I would love for you to go check out what we have going right now. And it is a giveaway. Click on the link that's included in the show notes. It's a live comment right now. It's pinned in the live chat, I should say. And right now, we got a $100 Fanatics gift card that's out there for the taking. It would go a long way to me and my sponsor if you'll participate. It's free and it's super easy to do if you have Instagram. You can be eligible for $100 to be used towards Baltimore's team store, courtesy of Fanatics, by going to PRMI Mid-Atlantic on Instagram or just clicking on the link that's a pinned comment. You go to the post, you comment on the post with the hashtag BobbyB, tell them what your dream home looks like, follow them, subscribe to my channel, which you probably already do, and scan the code or click on the Google Forms link. It is that simple. $100 towards Fanatics, towards Baltimore's team store. Ryan Gist won last week, I should say. He just hit me up about it. I can't remember what he said he was getting, but there is a ton of merch on this team store, and I would encourage you to go check it out. Yeah, we're talking Aaron Rodgers in just a second here, for those of you wondering. We already were, and now we're about to again. But go to the Ravens Fanatics gift store. You'll see a bunch of different merch that you can use. And again, you'll have $100 to choose from. So a lot of this is fair game. Or you can choose the Derrick Henry jersey and pay $30 instead of $100 since it's at $130. So on and so forth. A lot of good stuff here. That robe kind of looks clean, slick. Not a big robe guy, but what are you going to do? Appreciate you guys. Thanks for being here. The news that just came out a short while ago that, of course, deserves our attention is Aaron Rodgers. The fact that the worst kept secret looks to be out. Aaron Rodgers is going to Pittsburgh. He's joining the Steelers. He's joining the AFC North at 41, set to play his 21st NFL season in black and gold. The Ravens and Steelers set to match up twice down the latter half of the season. First time in week 14, that'll be a home game against the Steelers. Sunday, December 7th, 1 o'clock kickoff. And then, of course, a TBD on the date and time on this one. But week 18, regular season finale in early January at Pittsburgh. We'll see what's on the line there. Look, I feel like a lot of you are taking some of my analysis on this a little bit out of context. Am I scared of the Steelers? No, I am not. I think they have more questions than they do answers, and I think they'll be a team that will be lucky to hit double digits. I see them maybe 9-8. Okay? What I'm saying is Aaron Rodgers showing up to Pittsburgh with more left to prove, meaning post-Achilles Aaron Rodgers. I think he's got a chip on his shoulder, even though it didn't seem like it during his most recent public interview with Pat McAfee earlier on, where it kind of seemed like he was a little wishy-washy and didn't seem all in. I still think when push comes to shove, you've been around for 20-plus years. You know damn well you probably don't need OTAs under your belt. You may not even need a mandatory minicamp under your belt, but you're showing up anyway. And you probably don't need a ton of training camp under your belt either. But he's going to show up. And so while I'm not threatened from a Ravens perspective by Aaron Rodgers showing up to Pittsburgh, I do believe he will allow them to field a competitive team. And I still think, I will predict that the Ravens and Steelers will split the regular season series this upcoming year. I think the Steelers are going to play them tough. I think the Steelers are going to be on the verge of a wild card team. It'll be between them and Cincinnati. And it wouldn't surprise me if 3 teams from the AFC North get into the playoffs. It's happened recently, not last year. I don't believe Cleveland will be one of them. We'll see if Shedeur Sanders gets a legitimate shot, by the way, at starting quarterback. I've seen some reports, and I shared in Quick Hits today earlier on in the vault that so far at OTAs, he's not getting much opportunity to run with the ones, the first stringers. Not sure what that means. Still, don't view Cleveland as a formidable foe. Then again, it's the same team that with Jameis Winston beat the Ravens, or did the Ravens beat themselves last year? It's probably the latter, but the Browns walked away with a win. That's the big picture takeaway. I view the Steelers as a team that, with Aaron Rodgers under center, has really nothing to lose. Now, do their weapons scare you? On paper, offensively speaking, no, they don't. It's really Aaron and DK. Pat Freiermuth is a very capable tight end. Robert Woods, an aging wide receiver. Calvin Austin III, Caleb Johnson. That's Pittsburgh's weapons, according to this gridiron graphic. Aaron and DK obviously were seen earlier this offseason working. I think it was was it at UCLA? Somewhere out west. This was pretty clear this was going to happen. But again, while their weapons do not scare you, this is the same team that was able to beat the Ravens last year without scoring a gosh darn touchdown. Okay? They were able to do so without scoring a touchdown. Again, were there self-inflicted wounds that were the main moral of the story there for the Ravens? Sure. Reality is they walked away as losers. And I still think the Steelers will find a way to be scrappy in that rivalry. I still think they'll find a way to have their defense as a top 10 unit. We'll see what happens with what's going on related to TJ Watt. Chris is taking some strays. She's throwing some strays at me here. Bobby's boyfriend, meaning Aaron, will need a hip replacement playing in the North. Hashtag 2 easy wins. Calling her shot now. He's not my boyfriend, Chris. I am a fan of his. I do still think he has more left in the tank. I think his tenure with the Jets has been a little bit misunderstood or miscalculated. I don't think that they're a true threat to the Ravens when it comes to who's going to ultimately take this division. I'm just saying, let's not discount or overlook the Pittsburgh Steelers. I don't think that would be wise. Isaiah says, what's up, Bobby? Curious how Monken will choose his personnel sets. I think there's going to be a lot of 12, man. There's going to be a lot of 12. There was a lot of 12 last year. I expect that to be the case again. You want Likely and Andrews on the field together as much as you possibly can. They just bring a different level of explosiveness, a different level of variety, right? It opens up so many other opportunities for both the backfield and the guys outside, guys in the slot. I'm expecting a ton of 12 personnel. Appreciate you. Todd actually talked about that yesterday, Isaiah, because with his entire tight end room going into contract years, particularly the younger dude and Isaiah, who's trying to like get his first piece of the pie when it comes to contractual value, you would think that there'd be an opportunity or there could be some likelihood for friction in that room. But Monken says absolutely not, nowhere close.
Good friends, and they're selfless. Like, that's not easy. I mean, I know we played a lot of 12 personnel, but there's also, when we go 11 personnel, one of them's in the game, and they're both very capable guys. So Coach Godsey does a great job every week of how do we rotate those guys? Where do we have the targets aligned so those guys feel like they're getting their opportunities? So it starts with them. I mean, they're the ones that make that decision that, they're selfless. And I think it gives us, first of all, I'm fired up. They're all here, okay, to run it back with those guys. And, I see us being very similar to last year in a lot of ways because I think that's our best grouping.
Appreciate you, Isaiah. Appreciate you, Chris. Certainly the best grouping. I don't really think there's any room for debate about any of that whatsoever. I want to be clear, too. Look, I don't think they're taking the division. Okay, you guys are running with some of my comments in the chat, as you tend to do. It's either baby oil or let's run on Bobby. And so I don't think they're a threat to take the division. I just think that it's another level of competition that's stiff and just been heightened in the division, right? And when it's Pittsburgh and Baltimore already, it's going to be a bloodbath. It's going to be a war of attrition. And now they just got a future Hall of Famer who feels like he's got more left to prove, which is why, for whatever reason, he's still hanging around for his 21st season. If you're Pittsburgh, or if you're a Ravens fan, I should say, you're probably celebrating today because this is Pittsburgh continuing to delay. They do not have, and they haven't had since Ben retired, an answer at quarterback. They thought it might have been Kenny Pickett. They failed miserably with that. I felt like they gave up too soon on Justin Fields. Well, guess what? The Steelers are going to open up against Justin Fields and the Jets. That's going to be a freaking movie. That'll be hysterical. Look, they have had such little camaraderie, such little cohesion since Ben Roethlisberger left at the quarterback position that this is yet another year of somebody who could very well be injury prone at 41, 2 years removed, if that, from the Achilles tear. I guess September will be 2 years, right? And somebody that hasn't played a ton of football. Let's just put it that way. Has not played a ton of meaningful football in the last couple of years. And now all of a sudden you put yourself in a position where, again, let's say Aaron does get you to that 10-win campaign. You do sneak into the postseason as a wild card team. And now you're kind of like picking in the middle of next year's first round draft. And yes, it's going to be a deeper quarterback class. And there's no question about that. But you're not going to get one of the top guys. And so unless you get Kirk Cousins or something, which you're not doing that now because Aaron's now coming and it's official, then this is just like prolonging the franchise's plan at quarterback. And so honestly, that's a spin right there for Ravens fans. That's a cause for celebration. They have no long-term plan at the position, and they are banking on a 41-year-old to save them and their lackluster offense. Other notes from today's press conference. Zach Orr talked about his 2 young linebackers. He said Trenton Simpson, as Gianna Hahn noted here, is taking more leadership, is one of the more vocal guys out there. What about Teddy Buchanan? Rookie. Drafted him out of Cal. He says he's very intelligent. He's playing Mike, Will, and dime right now. I got to tell you, why they will try to build up Trenton as much as possible. They got a new inside linebackers coach by the name of Tyler Santucci, who comes over from the college ranks. The more Teddy Buchanan starts to put his best foot forward and show the kind of versatility that he appears to be so far early on in this process, the more I think that competition door is going to be a knocking. I'm really looking forward to it. Who will be Roquan's running mate? Who's it going to be? Not necessarily week 1, but when the season closes. Is it going to be Trenton? Going to be Teddy? Going to be somebody that is out of the blue? One of the more compelling potential positional battles as training camp nears in over a month and a half from now. Jeff Zrebeck also noting some press conference nuggets from Zach Orr, who confirmed that former 2022 4th-round corner Jalen Armour-Davis is getting a look at safety. As Jeff notes, just a part of trying to have as many versatile guys as possible in the secondary. He also referred to JAD, who just has not been able to stay on the field, sadly, throughout his few years, as the smartest guy in the defensive back room. So, Jalen getting a look at safety kind of tells you that he could very well be on the bubble at cornerback for the 53-man roster. It's a room that consists of the following players. Obviously, your surefire starters in Marlon Humphrey, Nate Wiggins, and you would think Cheeto Awuzie, who's your Brandon Stevens replacement. Those are your 3. You've got second-year players in TJ Tampa and Sanusi Kane, who ought to be locks. Definitely are locks for my money. You've got Bilal Cohn, who's a rookie. You've got Robert Longerbeam, who's a rookie. You're going to probably want both of those guys on this 53-man roster. Is Bo Braid at the safety? Excuse me. He's a safety. Excuse me. But I kind of view Jalen Armour-Davis as a bubble player. This will be the final year under contract for him of his rookie deal. Guy's barely played. It's a darn shame. Because coming out of Alabama, you felt like this dude had a ton of potential. But when availability becomes your biggest weakness, that's tough. So for me, my locks, Wiggins, Awuzie, Humphrey, Tampa, Kane, Cone, Longerbeam. Is JAD on the outside looking in? Sure seems it when you start to look at it. There's other corners out there in undrafted rookie modes as well, like Marquise Robinson. So the end of that cornerback room, the end of the wide receiver room, 2 areas that'll be fun in the late summer, trying to figure out what the Ravens might do when it comes to the roster jockeying, structuring, finalizing the 53-man roster, so on and so forth. I want to thank Primary Residential Mortgage for sponsoring this episode and continuing to throw in little sweet pots for my audience, like the $100 Fanatics gift card that's out there for the taking. And before I tell you about that, just in case you missed it, if you're drowning in credit card debt, your home could be the solution. Primary Residential Mortgage's home equity loan may help you. It's going to lower your interest rate. You can do some consolidation into one easy payment. You can free up monthly cash flow, and they will gladly talk options with you today. They can help you take control. And on top of that, you can enter to win a $100 Fanatics gift card to Baltimore's team store by clicking on the link that I have as a pinned comment right now in the live chat. That'll take you directly to the PRMI Mid-Atlantic Instagram page. Right here, you can follow them, which is one of the instructions in order to enter. Comment on the post. Use the hashtag BobbyB. Tell me, tell us, tell them what your dream home looks like. follow him, subscribe to me, which you probably already do, and either scan the QR code on the screen or copy and paste that Google Forms link that you see below those instructions. It's as simple as that. Then, after that, is the fun stuff if you win. You go to Fanatics, you go to Baltimore's team store, and you're getting $100 to spend. On what? Take your pick. Jerseys, robes, sweatshirts, hoodies, mesh t-shirts, leggings. Those are kind of clean. I'm a sucker for leggings, by the way. Crew necks, cutoffs, you name it. It's great stuff. Appreciate Primary Residential Mortgage very much. 40-plus minutes for you. Rashod Bateman, Aaron Rodgers. Potential changes coming to Zach Orr's secondary. And my, oh my, what's dominating the Twitter space right now is Elon and DJT going after it. Good Lord. Are they really beefing is the question. It sure seems like it. DJT made clear recently that he is very disappointed in Elon. Elon has been on a Twitter sphere, I don't even know what the right word is for it. He's been on not a hiatus, but a Twitter spree, just claiming that DJT is in the Epstein files, and that's the reason they have not been made available, told Donald to go have a nice day. Good Lord. This is really getting interesting. And the fact that Aaron Rodgers news dropped as that was happening, goodness gracious. Quite an afternoon. And I have a lot to do this afternoon. Right now, 15 minutes out from getting an estimate for two different things. Tree removal at my mom's, driveway paving. Got to help out the neighbor's pool. Going to dinner with our editor tonight, who is from upstate New York originally, lives in Hoboken, but he's here in Albany tonight. Our fathers set us up because they ref together, ref basketball. And so the four of us are getting together. Brendan, it's our guy Brendan, who's been editing all of our short form clips on the vault. So I look forward to meeting him in person for the first time. But yeah, no shortage of entertainment today. Good Lord. Manny wants to know how he can pay the bet. And this will be good. Manny and I had a nice little friendly wager going the last several weeks regarding Aaron Rodgers. I was steadfast the entire time on the fact that I felt like he was going to be a Steeler. Manny stuck his neck out there and thought that retirement was in the cards. It was a $5 bet. Manny, at Bob Trosset via Venmo or Cash App or the YouTube Super Chat feature. Or just show up tomorrow to the Friday live stream on the Vault and help us reach 700 Voltrons. I don't care where your money goes. It was a good fun back and forth. Aaron Rodgers is coming to Pittsburgh. You guys are putting words in my mouth, I got to tell you. Go enjoy your baby oil Thursday. Thank you so much, Chris and Tila and everyone, including PHP, Park Heights Prophet, for all the love and support that you gave me during the lunch hour live stream earlier today. We ended today at 600 channel members. I don't know why, but I need to make sure that that's a feature on the Bobby Baltimore channel. I don't know why I haven't gotten that done, but I will. So stay tuned on that. It's really simply just a time thing. So 600, appreciate you. Maybe we'll get to 700 tomorrow. That's right. It's notes, Chris. It is notes of your generosity. All right, people. As much as I want to do one more thing and Bobby After Dark and God knows what, I got a lot going on. We'll get some of that soon. Thank you, guys. Appreciate you. Like the video on your way out. Subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell. Donate if you'd like. Enjoy the rest of your afternoons and early evenings. I'll catch up with you guys soon. Later. Appreciate it.